Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some housekeeping items. First, if you would like to maximize your viewing area, please click on the small pod window in the upper right-hand corner of the presentation. To ask a question, please forward them electronically using the question and answer window on the left-hand side of the platform. With that, I'd like to turn over to Jim Copio. Jim, please go ahead.
Manny, thank you so much. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to today's webinar. And just to double check, this particular one is titled What's New in HPE Service Anywhere, the August 2016 release. So if you're not in that webinar, enjoy. So this is brought to you by HPE. Next slide. My name is Jim Copio, so I'm going to moderate this hour webinar, and I'm a manager at Whitlock Infrastructure Solutions. I'm the Carolinas chapter in the U.S. and North Carolina, and also the BSM SIG leader. I've been in the HPE partner ecosystem for about 18 years. In the next slide, we'll kind of cover the three key presenters today. And the first is Steve Anderson, and Steve is a senior product manager with HPE Service Anywhere. And Tanya Sherba is the senior product manager as well for HP Enterprises. And then we move over to Julie. And Julie Azzoli is the product marketing manager for HP Service Anywhere. So they all have a slot in this presentation, and they'll be on shortly. The next slide, I'd like to just cover some quick housekeeping. This is a live session, so this will be recorded, and you'll be able to get the recording in a couple days or less on the Vivid website. There's a section called Webinars, and you'll see it there, and you'll actually get an email notification as well. So you'll have a chance to rehear the entire session, as well as pick up the slides and some of the Q&A. And I'll remind everybody later in this webinar towards the end. Very important to the speakers and to everyone on this call, there is a Q&A section. We encourage everyone to type in questions as you think of them. You'll see an opportunity for a question pane, and then you'll submit those. They'll go into a queue, and we'll handle them one by one at the end of the webinar. And we'll try to cover everyone's questions. I'm sure there'll be quite a few. So we're actually going to segue this over to our first presenter from HP, and that is Julie, the Service Anywhere Product Marketing Manager. And she has a few pre-announcements, and she'll get into the content. Julie?
Yes, hi. Thank you, Jim. And hello to everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Before we get started, because this presentation may discuss some forward-looking information, I'm required to show you two legal statements, this one and the statement on the next slide, which is the HP Confidential Information Statement. So that's just also some quick housekeeping. So now we can get started. Okay, so we will begin this webinar with a brief introduction to ITSM and big data. Afterwards, Steve Anderson will present the highlights of our recent August 2016 release, and we'll also demonstrate some of these features. Following the demo, Tanya Sherba will discuss our Service Anywhere customer programs. I will then wrap up our presentation with information on where to go from here and upcoming HPE events, as well as some key takeaways from the webinar. And then afterwards, we will have Jim lead our Q&A discussion. So ITSM and the Big Data Service Desk, why should you care? Just a moment. Manny, can you press the animation here? Thank you. IT service management is changing rapidly. Throughout the industry, there is now a concept of a digital transformation underway. Across all views, there are some common drivers, such as social, mobile, cloud, and big data analytics, to name a few. Today's IT landscape is experiencing an explosion of new tech, and this technology is rapidly changing the expectations of IT. IT must support more services, more devices, and change at a rapid pace. Tougher yet are the demands from users who desire a consumerized experience with instant choices and solutions, just like shopping on Amazon. They also want to consume information differently, similar to social media, as on Facebook. Waiting in a call queue or for an email to be returned does not work for the modern user. Another trend is the allocation of IT budget to lines of business, who then require services from the cloud, thus resulting in an environment in which it is difficult for IT to oversee and manage. The potential for improvement is obvious when we take a close look at the challenges that IT organizations face when running a service desk. Why is that? First, many service desks are seen as slow and unresponsive. In addition, the service desk may offer inadequate or very limited services to employees, and many manual, time-consuming, and error-prone tasks are performed daily by service desk managers and agents. There is also inadequate tracking of infrastructure assets, devices, and software licenses throughout the organization. And of course, another big challenge is the effort and cost involved in deploying and upgrading a service desk. The result is a negative business impact, and this impact is inevitable. Dissatisfied users will most likely bypass the service desk and will contact service desk agents directly. This leads to reduced agent productivity, inadequate tracking of service requests, and the loss of important knowledge. The result is an inefficient, ineffective service desk running at a high cost. Furthermore, you may see a proliferation of shadow IT and line of business initiatives, as well as overspending on assets, just to name a few of the issues. However, there is a solution: IT service management using a cloud-based big data service desk. With HP Service Anywhere, IT staff, line of business staff, and end users can access the information and services they need faster from their desktop or mobile device. Big data turns user social interactions and service desk exchanges into meaningful and reusable knowledge. This engaging service portal and social collaboration promotes end-user self-sufficiency, reducing ticket volumes while increasing customer satisfaction. Service desk agents can handle tickets more quickly and efficiently. In addition, actionable insight not only answers questions and solves problems more quickly, it enables process improvements and superior service quality. And let's not forget that Service Anywhere is quick to deploy, easy to administer, and uses an agile continual delivery process for transparent updates that delivers the maximum return on investment. As you can see from this slide, Service Anywhere includes all the functionality you'd expect in a service desk and more. We are the only SaaS ITSM solution that has true big data embedded at our core, not bolted on. That means big data is expressed throughout the application in the workflows where you need it. The ITSM user does not need to jump out to another application or flip between screens to get the data he or she needs. Big data changes the way you do ITSM, getting to 100% of your relevant business data at the speed of business in the daily routine of every ITSM role. Another unique feature of Service Anywhere is our continuous delivery process. Our new architecture supports a continuous delivery model that allows development to quickly add new capabilities. Unlike other solutions or older architectures which may only be able to deliver 1 or 2 releases per year, continuous delivery can deliver great new content in short periods of time. And every user and every customer is on the same version. This slide shows some of the tangible benefits our customers are experiencing with Service Anywhere. The Department for International Development in the UK recently participated in a Service Anywhere case study. The organization needed to deliver efficient and effective IT support to 3,000 staff in disparate locations across 50 countries. With Service Anywhere, they were able to simplify and consolidate service management by providing a single point of contact for all core IT processes, including incident, problem, change, request, and knowledge management. The self-service portal and big data enabled the Department of International Development to increase employee self-sufficiency and reduce ticket requests to the service desk by 20%, and reduce phone calls to the service desk by 50%. This has resulted in significant cost savings for the organization. Okay, now I would like to pass the baton over to Steve, who will present the new features that we have in our August 2016 release.
Great. Thank you, Julie. So before I get into the new features, let me advance the slide here. I want to kind of just go through some of our high-level information about the Service Anywhere product. And the first slide here is highlighting something that Julie mentioned, our Agile continuous delivery process. And you'll see that our first release of Service Anywhere, let me get a pointer here, was back in December of 2013. And we've had many releases since then. So you can see it's about quarterly releases, each of those adding new content. And with each of those releases, we've been able to keep, all of our customers are updated to be on that latest release to have all of those new capabilities available to them if those are parts of the product that they're interested in using. So just highlighting the rapid pace of evolution that we've had with Service Anywhere leading up to what we're talking about today, which is the August 2016 release. All right. Before we get into the highlights of the release, I want to talk about some of our principles that we use when building and designing Service Anywhere. So first is user experience. And user experience is a big focus for the Service Anywhere team at all levels. So we really wanted to build a new SaaS product and service that was able to bring that level of user experience that everyone in these days is expecting when they're interacting with an application. End users expect a great portal to go to. Agents expect a very usable, friendly application if they're going to be in there using it either all day, if they're on the service desk or other high-touch agents, or if they're interacting with it occasionally. They want a good experience when doing that, or they're going to find ways to avoid the process. So we want to encourage the customers to come in, or the users to come into the tool and have that experience. So you can see, let me see if I still have my pointer here. So we have an image of the portal here, so the modern design on the portal. We built in social collaboration into self-service to encourage people to go in there and cross-communicate. And we built in things like on-the-fly translation to allow, through the Google Translation service, to be able to interact with people who don't speak the same language as you. Another aspect that we look at when we're building all of our features is how do we build intelligence into the process? So we labeled that as smart here, but that could be through automation. So we have a productized integration, very tight integration with the operations orchestration product, and that can be used to facilitate automated request fulfillment or automated change execution. Even can be used for incident remediation, things like going out, automatically grabbing log files. Operations orchestration has tremendous powers for automation, and our integration there allows us to tie into that to really increase the intelligence of your processes. We also have our hot topic analytics to allow you to analyze the data that you have in the system to understand what actions you should take, and proactive live support. It's an optimized user experience for those service desk agents when they're on the phone with someone, and it pushes useful knowledge, service knowledge that's in the tool to those agents, be it active incidents, knowledge articles, offerings from the catalog, those things that may help that agent assist that end user more quickly. We also have taken our extensive experience through many years in this space and built in industry best practices. So these out-of-box workflows, configuration, all of those things are built into the tool, really with the idea of allowing you to take the system as it is, be able to stand it up, even put it into production very quickly, and then iterate on that and adapt it to your process, be able to start getting a return on your investment very quickly. And going back to the first slide in my section, the rapid evolution of Service Anywhere, as we've been building it out, we've expanded into other areas like application portfolio management, idea and proposal management, in order to really be able to serve that complete service life cycle beyond just those core ITSM capabilities, really giving you access to additional value from the solution, and that's all on the same platform, and it's just part of the new releases as they come out, available to all of the Service Anywhere customers, something that they can decide whether they want to roll out to their users when they're ready for it. All right, so that's enough on kind of the overview of Service Anywhere. I now want to go into August 2016 specifically. So for this release, we had 3 themes. So one was mobility. So we've had an HTML5 application for Service Anywhere since the very beginning, accessible on mobile. So the portal was designed for a smartphone form factor. The agent interface is designed for a tablet in landscape, so very accessible. It was a great thing. But we did get a lot of feedback that people like the user experience and the power of a native mobile application. So that was one thing that we've focused on in this release, and I'll talk a little bit more about that on a dedicated slide. The other theme was fast and secure, so delivering performance improvements and also introducing a strong authentication capability that allows you to kind of double confirm that the person taking a critical action in the tool, such as an approval, is in fact who they have initially authenticated. So they authenticate a second time and really provide that the additional security that you are able to have the full audit trail of who is performing those critical actions. And then the third theme was around IT efficiency and looking at how do we make it more efficient for the service desk, especially through the new on-call schedule management capability that I'll show later in the session. All right, so back to mobility, which I already talked about a little bit, but going into it a little bit more. So we have a new native mobile app called HPE Propel. And this is for the self-service capabilities at this point. So it's available for your end users as they're coming into the tool to do all of those things, all of those interaction and touch points with their IT organization. So it lets them self-solve issues through finding knowledge articles or questions and answers that other people in the organization have provided responses to. They can order services from the catalog, they can submit tickets, and they can track their tickets all from their phone through the native mobile app. And this gives them a very quick access, easy access to IT. They don't have to remember what the website is or have a bookmark. They just have the application and have the app. They have it connected to your Service Anywhere system. They're able to access it and do their interactions with IT through that portal. Advance the slide here. All right, chat ops. Now this is a very interesting one that we've built out recently, a chat ops capability. And if you're familiar with chat ops, you might be excited about this. And if you're not, then maybe it's an introduction to something that you can go and read up more on. But so in this release, we've integrated Service Anywhere with Slack through Hubot. And I have an architecture slide that will maybe cover that, help explain that a little bit more on the next slide, but I'll leave it here for a second. And the use case that we're really looking at here is for a major incident. So when a major incident comes in, there's lots of teams that need to be participating. So, and a lot of those teams are already working in a chat ops environment, and we want Service Anywhere to be able to contribute and benefit from the chat ops usage. So when the major incident occurs, Service Anywhere will automatically open a channel in Slack and updates that happen in the Service Anywhere incident will show up in the Slack discussion. So this allows people who would not normally be active on the incident in Service Anywhere to be participating in the process of working on that issue and helping get it resolved quickly. In addition, from the Slack side, there are a number of commands that can be issued and to perform actions in Service Anywhere. So you can do a simple query to check on information. You can use the big data searching capabilities of Service Anywhere to bring back knowledge articles and then link over to them in Service Anywhere. You can pull down the attachments that are part of the record. There's lots of commands that you can make in the ChatOps environment that then go and perform actions in Service Anywhere. So a really powerful tool if your organization is using ChatOps and being able to plug Service Anywhere in there to provide information and benefit from it. So here's the architecture. So there's lots of ChatOps tools. We've chosen to kind of build out this capability targeting Slack, but that was just a choice. It could have been done with any of these other ones. And I need my pointer again over here on this side. And it's all done through a Hubot robot. And also, this is not just a Service Anywhere initiative. So there's lots of other HPE software products that are also plugged into the ChatOps capability. So we have Service Manager, Service Anywhere, Operations Manager, and these other ones, all with similar integrations and, of course, lots of third-party ones as well. And that's really the benefit of getting the users of all of those tools into a central place to do collaboration in the scenario that we care about here, quickly resolving that major incident. Perfect. Moving on. On-call schedule management. So in previous releases, we put a lot of investment into ensuring we were able to get the correct group assigned to the records in Service Anywhere. So we had a few releases ago, the new intelligent suggestions capability that allows you to show the right subset of groups to the people who are assigning out the tickets. But we really wanted to start to get more information that's useful in helping people to assign individuals to the records that need to be worked in Service Anywhere, so requests, incidents, et cetera. And one capability that kind of relates to that is understanding who is working, who is off, and especially who is on call for a particular for a particular type of issue, who's on call for a particular group at a particular time. So we've built in the capability to define for each of the functional groups a on-call schedule, including a primary on-call agent, secondary, and a tertiary or a third backup for each of those groups. Very powerful scheduling capabilities. You can lay out what your schedule is going to be months in advance. You can have a recurring schedule, and then you can go in and make exceptions to that in order to adjust for the things that we know happen in real life, like vacations and illnesses and other assignments. All of that can be handled through the scheduling, the calendaring capability for the on-call schedules. We also introduced a group assignment strategy field on the functional groups and some business rules behind that to help aid in the communication to the right people based on the way that group operates. So there's a group assignment strategy called automated, and in that case, it's going to automatically assign the ticket to the on-call agent as soon as it's assigned to that group, and I'll show that in the demo. You can also have a cascading option where we'll first send a notification to the primary on-call. If the record isn't updated in a certain period of time, we're going to send a notification to the second on-call. So really trying to make sure that we get somebody actively working on that ticket as soon very quickly, under the assumption that that's an urgent issue. We've also added in, related to this, a capability for agents to determine which notifications they would like to receive based on their working schedule. And again, I'll show that as part of the demo. All right. In addition to OnCall, we've introduced some new capabilities in terms of project management portfolio optimization. So some of the changes here, we have tighter integration between the project management and the change and release modules. So you're now able to create a project from a change or from a release and create a program from those records as well. So kind of tying in those four capabilities of project, program, change, and release, as they're all often tightly related in an organization. And we'll see those related records when we're viewing one of the records. We'll see the other records that are related to it on that, so you can navigate between the change, release, project, and program. We also have officially released now the project and portfolio optimization. So that was a control GA prior to August 2016, and now we've had people participate with us in the control GA portion, and now we've released it, and it is available to all customers, not just ones that we're working with specifically. All right, let's advance here. All right, human resources. So another trend that we're seeing and that we're responding to in our in the market and in our customers is expanding the usage of Service Anywhere beyond the traditional IT scenarios. And probably the most popular one that we're seeing at this point is utilizing the tool for human resources related requests. So we've introduced, so one thing we noticed was that the workflow for human resources is not exactly the same as for working an IT related request. So we've introduced a dedicated workflow for human resources support requests. So this can be configured separately from your IT one. It's an independent workflow allowing you to have different business rules, different configuration for your IT support requests and your HR support requests. So giving you additional flexibility and making the process of rolling each of those out to your customer, to your end users easier. And we've also added in the ability to customize the metaphase name to ensure that the names that you're displaying to your end users are in the right language and right context for the type of request that they've made, whether that is an IT request or an HR request. All right, with that, I am ready to do a demo. Manny, can you let me know when my screen is being displayed?
Go ahead, Steve.
All right. So here we are in Service Anywhere. So I have navigated over here to the Service Request Management queue. So this is my list of service requests in the tool. And what I want to show is how you utilize the on-call schedule to aid in the increase the efficiency for the agents who are working in this area. So if I go ahead and select one of the requests out of the list here, so this is assuming I already have gone ahead and configured my on-call schedule. I know who's on call. And now what I want to do is go ahead and take advantage of that as an agent. So I'm here, I'm working on this request. I'm a member of the service desk, and I determine, you know what, I'm not going to be able to solve this. I really need to get somebody from the expert team for this area involved. And I want to get them involved quickly, so I want it to be ensure it's the person who is on call for this. So we have, in the assignment section, we have the expert group field and the expert assignee. So who should I assign it to? So first I'll do the drop down here. And one thing you'll notice is that we've gone ahead and used our intelligent suggestion capability for the assignee to be able to show you the on-call people. So we can see that Alan Norton is currently on call, and Aaron is the first backup, and Alice is the second backup. So I can very quickly, I could go ahead and assign Alan to this. I could then hover over, I could go to his person record in the tool, and if I wanted to reach out to him directly, I could do that. I'm not going to assign it manually here because I want to show you another capability that we've added. So if I go ahead and now assign it, so I switch the current assignment to expert group, which means that now this is set to be assigned to the internet support team, and you'll notice that Alan Norton has been automatically filled in here. So, and I can hover over his name and I can see his contact information. Hold it there to make sure your screen catches up with mine. So what we're showing here is just some efficiency gains that we can get by having that on-call schedule, and then the business logic behind the scenes in the tool to do that automatic assignment. So the agent doesn't have to go through the process of figuring out who is the right person to be assigned. The tool is doing that. So now what I'll do is I'll hover over here on the group, and I can jump over to the group record. Let's go ahead and we don't need to save the changes to that request for the purpose of this demo. All right, so here is the group record, and I just want to show you here the assignment strategy field, and you can see the options here. So you can have no strategy, universal, cascading, directed, or automatic. So the one that we chose here to automatically assign it is, of course, automatic. Perfect. So let's go ahead and show you how you can kind of interact with both your schedule and with your team, your group's schedule and your agent. So you see my name up here in the right, Anderson Steve. If I go ahead and click on this, this is going to go to my profile area. And this page has been changed in the August release. So one thing we added, you can see your groups, and I'm a member of a few groups here. You can see who's part of my groups, and then you'll see this calendar icon over here. So that is the on-call schedule. That's the way I access the calendar, the on-call schedule for each of these teams. You can also see I have a couple employees, and I can go ahead and view their calendars as well. So let's go ahead and look at the on-call schedule for the team that we were working with earlier. Okay, let's go ahead. So it defaults to week view. If I scroll up here, you can kind of see how it's set up. But I think it's very interesting to look at it in a month view. And what I've chosen to set up for this demo is kind of a weekly rotation of who's going to be on call. So a number of customers I've talked to have this set up for at least some of their groups, where one person is on call for a week, and then it shifts to another person, and then another, kind of rotating through the full group. Let me go ahead and click on updating the on-call shift. I'm going to show you how the entire series is configured. So what I've done, so I select my time zone. I did US Pacific because I live here on the West Coast. And I set the duration to be a week. I could go ahead and do this for just a day, or I could do it for just a part of a day. And then I went ahead and said that I want to have it repeat every week. And then the kind of fun part is down here, the ability to rotate on every shift. So I just went ahead and added all of my group members, rotate on every shift, and that means each time we move to a new shift, so in this case every week, it's going to move to the next person, it's going to assign the next person to the list, and then the next person, and then the next person. So that's just one option you have to set it up. You can, of course, go ahead and not rotate on every shift and kind of do it manually if you need to do that. And let's say that I know, so here I am, I'm going to be on call down here at the end of the month here, and I know that I'm going to be on vacation during this time period, so I need to reassign my shift to somebody else. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I want to update just this shift, and I'm going to go ahead and maybe it's okay if I'm a backup, so I could go ahead and move myself down in the list. So now I'm the secondary on call, or maybe I even want to go down to last on call. But in this case, you know what, I'm really going to be unavailable, so I want to remove myself, and I'm going to go ahead, and I've talked with Carol. I'm going to go ahead and assign Carol to the on-call shift, and I can go ahead and update it. And now you can see that Danny is now the on-call during that time period instead of me. So it's very easy for me to go in, keep the schedule up to date. I don't have to rely on somebody else to do that for me. I'm going to go back to my profile. I'm just going to show you another thing here. All right, so I can view my calendar. So I can go to schedule here or view calendar here. Both goes to the same place. So I'll just click up here, the schedule. So this indicates my working hours. So I can go ahead and manage working hours. So I'm working 7 to 5, just a standard schedule here. And so I could modify that, have a split shift if I need to, and I can go ahead and add vacations. So let's say I'm going to be on vacation on October 5th. I'll just say it's all day. It would help to do it there. And let's go to the month view, and you can now see where I have my vacation, and it's also going to display my on-call shifts. So I can immediately go in and see I'm the third on-call during this week, second on-call on this week, and then I'm on vacation on this day. And similarly, if I go back to my profile, I can also go in and see the schedules and modify the schedules for my employee. If somebody is out sick, I could go in and modify their schedule and put that in if I needed to. Last thing I want to show you is this page for notification settings. So we know that agents like to have some control over how they are notified and when they're notified. So we're starting to introduce that capability here. So the list of which notifications can be opted in or opted out of by the agent is controlled in the configuration as part of the notification template setup. So we have a number of these set here, but you can define different ones if you need to. And what I can say is, you know what, I don't really need to receive notifications at all when something is assigned to my group. If really somebody else is taking care of assigning it out in the group, or maybe I'm always watching my queue, so I don't need that notification. It's not going to be helpful to me, so I can opt out of it. Or maybe I don't want to receive notifications at all if I'm on vacation, or maybe I don't want to receive them during work hours because I know that I'm going to be in the tool, and receiving an email during that is really redundant because I'm going to be there looking for the work that's coming to me anyway. So all of that gives me just additional control over my experience with the tool, increasing my satisfaction and hopefully my productivity. And with that, I will conclude my demo and pass it on to Tonya.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thanks. If you could go to the next slide. I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes highlighting a couple of our customer programs. The demonstration that Steve just went through describing some of the new features from our August release are features that we worked with our customers on in the context of our design partnership program. I'm not seeing the slide on my side, but Steve, are you on yours?
Yeah, go ahead and refresh your browser there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's showing Design Partner Program.
Okay,
Yep.
great. That's fine. If you guys can see it, I think I know the slide. So the Design Partnership Program is just one of many ways that we work with our customers to better understand their use cases and their priorities, but it's really one of the most important. And we meet with them on a regular basis. The meeting is every 2 weeks, and we get input on the new features, new capabilities, plans for release. It's really an important way for us to keep in touch on going in both directions, and very helpful for us in terms of prioritizing the capabilities, and something that's available to all of our customers and partners. You'll see some other programs there as well in terms of how we work with our customers. The summits or the forums, as are known in EMEA, is another great opportunity for us to work with customers and for customers really to network amongst themselves. We have a summit coming up in Americas in Denver, and that's September 20th is the date, and then we have several planned for EMEA, so we can provide that information if anyone's interested in attending. The next slide, please. And this is introducing sort of a new program. It's really a relaunch. For the last few years, we've been working with our implementation partners, so whether it be HPE professional meeting every 2 weeks. We drill down on either a new feature or a technical area like LDAP integration or business rules, debugging, that kind of thing, and have the R&D group present to our implementation and tech-savvy users. We're just relaunching that program this week, actually, and we're going to include customers. So for the customers on the call or potential customers, it's an opportunity for the more technical implementer person on the team to meet with R&D, meet with other customers, and really get down into detail where we might provide an example of a business rule, for example. So relatively speaking, Service Anywhere doesn't require the same level of expertise as many other solutions, because we do all of our configuration through codeless configuration. But there are still things like business rules or configurations that can be optimized or can be extended to meet different requirements, and it's just a great opportunity for, again, partners and customer implementation team members to meet. And so that's something that is also available and recorded as sort of a library of technical videos. Next slide. And I think we're on to another speaker.
Yes, hi, Tanya. Thank you. This is Julie. I'll take it from here. Okay, so we want to wrap up with some information about resources available, some upcoming events, and key takeaways from this webinar. First of all, we think we have a pretty amazing product, and we'd like to share some supporting points of view to that. First of all, and these documents are available on our service desk page on hpe.com. We have a very interesting document that was created by Forrester called the Total Economic Impact of HPE Service Anywhere, which goes into, it's a study of the benefits and return on investment that an organization experienced using Service Anywhere, and it goes into a lot of detail, and it's a really great read. There's also a Gartner document that we have purchased the rights to. It was about big data for the service desk, and it's not specifically about Service Anywhere, but it does discuss the importance of big data, and HPE is mentioned as one of the key players in the big data space. Last but not least, we encourage you to take a look at the reviews that are being written about Service Anywhere on the peer review sites such as IT Central Station, G2 Crowd, and Gartner Peer Review. And we see that we have a lot of happy customers out there that are willing to share their information about and their experiences with the product. Now, for more information about Service Anywhere, there's a couple of places you can go. First of all, we have a 30-day free trial for anyone who wants to test out Service Anywhere and see and play with the new features and the old features. So that is available on our hpe.com service desk page, and the link will be in the PDF. There's also a very detailed document in our Service Anywhere Learn forum that details what's new in this particular release, the August release. We also encourage you to visit the community forum and our help center, which provides detailed documentation about all of the features in Service Anywhere. In addition, you can read blogs about Service Anywhere and other ITSM topics in our community blog area. And you can follow us on Twitter at HPE_ITSM. And in addition, we have a LinkedIn group called the HPE ITSM Knowledge Corner, where you can join that group and follow what's happening within HPE and also see discussions in general about ITSM issues. So upcoming events, as Tanya has already mentioned, we have the first Practitioners Forum coming up on September 14th, next week, and that will be announced on the Learn Forum. In addition, we have in Denver, Colorado coming up very soon is the HPE America's ITOM Summit, and there will be several Service Anywhere customers speaking in that summit. And also, I think it's an opportunity probably to meet Tanya as well, if you're interested. And perhaps Steve, I don't know if you're also going to be there. And in addition, we have a series of customer forums coming up in Europe. We're calling them the Big Data Service Desk Forums, and we have, there's actually one happening today in Prague, so I didn't list it here, but we also have one coming up in London, Istanbul, Paris, one in the Netherlands, and also in Poland. And let's not forget, we have HPE Discover coming up in London at the end of November and early December. Okay, so we'd like you to think about these key takeaways from this webinar. First, we'd like you to keep in mind that big data, what the benefits are of big data, that it increases employee self-sufficiency, reduces tickets to the service desk, enables proactive problem solving, and reduces operational costs. Another key takeaway is that Service Anywhere seamlessly provides new innovation and customer requested enhancements via continuous delivery. And also, you should look for the new self-service portal in the Google Play Store. And in a few months, it'll also be available in the Apple Store. ChatOps is one of our key features of this release. It enables collaboration on ticket handling for fast ticket resolution, and it is available not just in Service Anywhere, but in a number of products in the HPE software portfolio, such as Service Manager and ALM and more. And last but not least, keep in mind that Service Anywhere is for IT, but not just for IT. It can be also adopted by lines of business, and we're showing that by including the new dedicated support for human resources. So please keep us in mind for that. Okay, and now I think that we're ready to move on to Q&A. So I'll pass it back to you, Jim.
Julie, thank you. Outstanding, and Steve and Tanya as well. Appreciate it. So we have a few questions that are flagged in the queue. Let me read the first one. Good questions. What size customer is best fit for Service Anywhere? Whoever wants to take that.
Okay. Steve, do you want to take that one, or Tanya?
Yeah, I can take that. So it's, I would say that we're appropriate for a very broad range. We have customers that are what we would call larger, medium enterprise, maybe have 25 agents and then a number of self-service users, up to customers in production with more than 1,000 agents and 60,000 self-service users. So it really is quite broad. As a minimum, we would say something like 15 agents would be maybe the smallest size, but it goes, way up from there.
Cool. Thank you, Tanya. Awesome. Another question. How's the product sold? I suppose that's a licensing question, I guess.
Yeah, and I can take that one too, if you like. So, I assume it's licensing as well. And so we license by agents. We provide named user licensing as well as concurrent user licensing. And I'd say that a good number of our customers take advantage of the concurrent licensing option. Gives you a lot of flexibility. It is a sort of an all-you-can-eat kind of license, meaning everything that Julie showed you in terms of the breadth of the product, from idea management through to change and release management. It's all part of that same license, whether it be named or concurrent. Also, really important to keep in mind is that we do not charge for self-service users. We think that's a really critical component to encourage our employees and et cetera, for the customer to be as self-service as possible, so there's not an additional charge for that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. In terms of the big release that just happened in August, what is the general release schedule roadmap for future releases? Is it the big release once a year, once a quarter, smaller releases more often? What's that look like?
I can take that one too, and then Steve, maybe you want to jump in. So I think Steve showed a slide that showed our last 11 to 13 releases. And so if you look at that, what it translates to is about 4 releases a year. We would say 2 major, 2 minor. And then there are continuous delivery releases in between, so smaller, zero downtime kinds of updates. It's important to note that it's a true SaaS solution, so all of our customers are always on the same version at any one time. Everyone is always on the latest. And we manage that by, one, communicating in advance what our release process is going to be. It's very predictable. We name our releases by the month, so you know when to expect them and you know that they're going to be on time. And then there's a program really for making sure that our customers are ready for these releases. So on the major releases, there's a preview period where we update the development environment and they can look at the new features in the context of their own data and their own processes. We have anywhere from 2 to 4 webinars per release in advance, so that our customers can see what's coming and understand whether they want to take advantage of it or not. Most of the big new features or capabilities would be sort of opted in, meaning it's through security or through some settings, so that just because there's a new release and you're on the latest doesn't mean that you're forced to use these capabilities. And then also, of course, release notes and other enablement or release readiness kinds of activities.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. Not sure I totally understand this question, but something to do with is this SaaS and on-premise, the solution?
It is 100% SaaS solution. So it's been built from the ground up for SaaS, for service management, and all of our customers are on SaaS.
Okay, cool. We got a global question here about Europe. Is there a data center in Europe that supports this?
There is. We have 3 data centers around the world. One is in London and Paris, actually 4, Canada and in the United States.
Awesome. Okay, we've got time for a few more questions so that we can do wrap up and let everybody get back to their day. Let's see what we have here. Does this integrate out of the box with HPE ALM to create defects from user-reported production issues that might require code fixes in our applications? That's a mouthful.
I can take that one, or Steve, do you want to jump in there?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I didn't want to take too much of my fair share. So we do have an integration with the next version of ALM Octane, and it's available. It will be available out of the box. So our area is ready, and we're just waiting for the next release of ALM Octane, and then we'll explore other versions of ALM once we get more feedback on that new integration. One thing to note, though, is we do have customers who have already integrated with ALM using our public API for that.
Yeah, and one thing I was going to add on just on the topic of integration in general is that when we started Service Anywhere, we knew from our experience in ITSM that is a heavily integrated discipline. Seeing customers with 30 plus integrations is not uncommon. So we built support for RESTful web services. So we have REST APIs for pretty much everything you need to do in the product. So it is highly integratable. Even if there isn't a productized integration to a particular tool, one could be built to integrate with that once you understand the use case.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Here's an interesting question. With the new features out in August, I guess assuming some customers are already using those new features, what's the overall feedback been? I'm sure it's positive.
Yeah, the advantage of a true SaaS model where customers are always on the latest is that they can start using them right away. Right, it's typically harder in an on-premise world where some of the upgrade timeframes take sort of 3 to 9 months. And for us, we call it an update versus an upgrade because really with codeless configuration, we need to ensure that all of our customers are on the latest. So the feedback has been really positive. Again, we worked with many of our customers throughout the process in the design review and the release readiness program. So we had that, we had a lot of their feedback going into it. But I would say through the release readiness activities, it just gave them that extra information that allowed them to roll it out even more quickly to their customer base. So yeah, we're getting great feedback on the new capabilities.
Very cool.
I'll just add one other thing too, if I can. So with that more continuous delivery process, right, delivering updates throughout the year, it really is a great advantage for our customers because we can deliver so much more throughout the year and deliver, OnCall scheduling is a great example where it was introduced in this August feature, but we know what the next sort of enhancements or the backlog of additional things that we could do in OnCall, and we'll be getting feedback right away from customers, and that was going to really help prioritize what comes next. So it really works well in terms of that continuous delivery and getting their feedback quickly when they can get up on a new feature quickly.
Thank you. One more question, and then we'll do wrap up. There's one about HP Service Manager. Migration to HP Service Anywhere. I guess some customers are thinking about that path. How long would that take, that migration in general?
I think it might make sense. Oh, yeah, Steve, you're the SM expert. I was going to.
So that's a difficult question to answer definitively because there's so much variability in Service Manager implementations. But one thing you want to think about is the tools are quite different in terms of data model and in terms of how configuration is done. And it's an opportunity to start fresh. A lot of customers are thinking about going more out of box and adhering more to the provided best practice in order to get their time to value up and running. So in some ways you can think about it as I'm going to stand up a new Service Anywhere system and maybe move particular pieces of my organization to it or move all at once. And in terms of a Service Anywhere implementation, we've seen them take as short as a couple weeks to a couple months for customers who are really adhering to the let's start out of box and then iterate on that after we have the system running and we get real feedback from our users.
Cool. Well, thank you.
For a larger, more complex organization, it would likely be longer.
Sure. Makes sense. Well, we're going to do wrap up because we see it's the top of the hour and we respect everybody's time. You may have noticed that there's a download pane and there is the slide deck available actually right now. So if anybody wants to grab the PDF of the slides, it's there. Additionally, as mentioned, you can get it from the Vivid website under webinars shortly, which will also contain the Q&A and the presentation in general. So we appreciate everybody's time and your excitement about Service Anywhere. It's a great solution, and I know HPE is very proud of it. Kudos to everybody on the phone, and we're concluding. Thank you, and goodbye.